Welcome back to High Frights. Spark 'em if you got 'em. Lean back and let's get into it again. Yes, again, the second one we're doing tonight. Tonight we're leaving the woods of the North America behind, and we're going to going into the rolling hills of Tuscany, Italy. Vineyards, olive groves, and Renaissance art, but also a killer so profilic and so elusive that he became a shadow that haunted Italy for 20 years. This is the story of the monster of Florence. We're talking about 16 victims, 8 double homicides, and a series of crime scenes so ritualistic and bizarre that they spawned theories about satanic sects, high society cults, and massive police cover-ups. It's a rabbit hole that swallowed journalists, detectives, and innocent men all the same. Before we even get into anything, because I really don't want no cops knocking at my door on some silly events. Disclaimer: this video involves extreme violence, sexual assault, and a discussion of ritualistic mutilation. If you're looking for a cozy little mystery, this is not it. This is not for you. This is the stuff of actual nightmares. We're going back to the year 1968. A couple is found murdered in a parked car in a secluded lane outside of Florence. The husband's dead, the wife is dead, but their young son is in the back sleeping, miraculously unharmed. This was the seed. But the monster didn't truly bloom until 1974. Between 1974 and 1985, the pattern becomes terrifyingly consistent. The target was I Finimi, the lovers. I apologize if that's pronounced wrong. I don't speak Italian. I'm trying my best, though. Young couples who drove out to the countryside for just a bit of privacy because in conservative Italy at the time, there really was nowhere else to go. They parked their cars inside the shadows of the olive trees, and that's when the monster would strike. Every single murder used the same exact weapon, a Beretta Series 70 with a .22 caliber pistol. Oh, it was a .22 caliber pistol, I'm sorry. With a very specific, rare type of ammunition, Winchester H series. But it wasn't just the shooting. It was what happened afterwards. The monster would drag the female's victims away and perform surgical, ritualistic mutilations. He was taking trophies with a level of precision that suggested he knew exactly what he was doing with the blade. Imagine the pressure on the Italian police. Florence is the jewel of Italy, after all. And a serial killer is threatening the countryside is treating the countryside like a hunting ground. Enter Chief Investigator Rogudo Berugini. I apologize, I know I'm butchering these names. He was the man who finally tried to bring modern profiling to the case. He even worked with the FBI's Quantico team. Again, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Quantico team. Sorry. They realized we weren't looking for a madman in the traditional sense. We were looking for a voyeur, someone who hated love, someone who watched these couples from the bushes before striking. But every time the police thought they had a lead, another couple was found dead. The monster was mocking them. At one point, the killer even mailed a piece of the victim's body to the lead prosecutor. This is a level of arrogance that usually leads to a mistake, but not this time. So, who did they catch? Well, they found Perudo Pacciani, picture of rugged, angry, semi-literate farmer with a history of extreme violence. He had killed his fiance's lover decades prior and was known for being a monster in his own home. He looked the part. He was, in the eyes of everyone else, the perfect villain. The trial was a circus. The prosecution claimed that Bacciani didn't work alone. They introduced the Cabani de Medri, or the Picnic Buddies. This group of strange local outcasts who allegedly helped them out carried the murders. It sounds like a really bad movie in reality. But, of course, the evidence was flimsy. Bacciani, that's how you pronounce it, Bacciani, was convicted, then acquitted, then died before he could have even retire. To this day, many believe that he was just a convicted scapegoat for a much more sophisticated killer. Now, this is where the story gets into the higher levels of weird. Many investigators and the famous novelist Douglas Preston began to suspect that the Picnic Buddies were just the muscle. The theory: the monster of Florence was actually a high society satanic sect. I mean, think about it. The surgical precisions of the mutilations, the specific trophies that were taken, these weren't just random acts of violence. They looked like ingredients for a ritual. People started noticing that every time the police got close to a wealthy doctor or a powerful figure in Florence, the investigation would mysteriously, hit a wall. Witnesses died and evidences went missing. Was the monster actually a collective of the Florence's elite, using Bacciani as just, a shield? There's even a theory that the monster was connected to the Zodiac Killer. That's just what some researchers claim because of the timelines and the signatures have eerie overlaps. That's honestly, I might cover that in a later video. I might actually cover that, how that's connected to the Zodiac Killer and how all that actually goes down. The murder stopped around 1985, not because someone was caught, but because, well, they just kind of stopped out of nowhere. Maybe the killer died, or maybe he just moved. Maybe he's just still there, but an old man sitting in a cafe in a Florence plaza somewhere, just watching the tourists go by. The monster of Florence changed Italy. It killed the romance of the countryside. It left 16 families without closure, and a legal system in absolute tatters. It remains one of the greatest whodunit in European history. And that is The Shadow over Tuscany. If you're ever in Florence and you find yourself driving through those hills at night, maybe just keep driving. You shouldn't really pull over for a view anyways, late at night. Thank you for hanging with me tonight. If you see the maps of the crime scenes, I don't have the links for that just yet. I will be working on that. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and for the love of God, stay elevated. Have a good night.